In this short video, we're going to talk about how to do rate limiting in Django. So let's just go ahead and get started. So let's first of all start by explaining what rate limiting is and then showing how to do it in Django. So for demonstration purposes, I created a new Django app by using Django admin start project, as well as I went ahead and installed Django Rest Framework using pip install Django Rest Framework. I did all this to get started and save a bit of time. So I created two functions here. The first one is just a simple hello world that will return a JSON hello world. This is using function-based views in Django. And then I also created a simple view set, which actually might be a more common way to do REST endpoints in a production system. And I used the Django Rest Framework viewsets.viewset. You can import that just directly from the main standard library, or the main Rest Framework library. And I created a get function, which is specified by using the list keyword. And this will just simply return the current UTC time. So we'll actually open up PowerShell here and just send a request to this just to show here. And then we'll explain the rate limiting part of it. So I'll make this a little bit bigger, maybe if I can, so you can see it a little bit better. So what we can do is just curl, we can curl this endpoint, which I'll show you here as well. It's in the URLs. I specified this as hello /hello and /time. Those are two endpoints, two endpoints. So we can just simply curl both endpoints. Hello, you can see it returns the content, JSON content hello world, and the other one returns the current UTC time. So, okay, so that's cool. So they both work. So let's explain rate limiting now. So imagine you have these two endpoints in your application and you have real users that you've onboarded, or you have a client or something like that, or maybe you have some friends using it. It doesn't matter. You can see in this example, this is just using default settings. You can make multiple requests to hello, and there's pretty much no limit to it, right? You could just send a million requests and nothing would stop you until basically the server crashes or it's unable to serve the request. So you don't want the user to essentially have the ability to control the system, or have the ability to even be in a position to crash the server or overwhelm the database. This also can lead to a lot of security vulnerabilities. One of the most common that rate limiting prevents is what is called a dictionary attack, which might be on a login form or something similar, where essentially a hacker or some type of malicious person is trying to just create a script and just try as many password combinations as possible until you find one that works, and then you've cracked the account. So if you don't have rate limiting on your application, you're introducing a lot of risk, and it's not great. So let's just quickly write a bit of code and see how we can add rate limiting to our endpoints here. So this is really simple. So what we're actually going to do is using the rate limiting package inside the Django Rest Framework. So you will make sure to have that installed by using pip install Django Rest Framework. So all we needed to do, and it doesn't really matter where you put this, but we need to add a variable. I'm going to put it below the middleware package. You need to add a variable that is just called Rest Framework. And what you need to do is add the keyword default throttle rates. And what we can do is just add a few keywords. This is a dictionary, Python dictionary. We're going to add user and anon, and you will see what this is in a second here. Alrighty, I think that should be good to go for the settings page. And what we need to do here is go into our views. Like I said, here we have our hello world function-based view and our current time view set, which is a DRF view set. So what we can do here is import a few simple functions, and it will add rate limiting to both our endpoints. So what we could do is from the decorators package in Rest Framework, import the throttle classes, which will be used for the function-based views. And what we can do is also import throttling, user rate throttle, and a non-rate throttle. You can see that these kind of correspond to the user and a non. And by the way, here I just use as an example. You can use whatever you want. Essentially, this is saying we're going to have a maximum of 5 requests per minute and 10 requests per minute for registered users. You could also change this to something like seconds, minutes. You could do per hour, per day. These are all valid. This is like a string that gets parsed. But for our example, we'll just do 5 per minute so that we can easily see when it hits the limit and see what happens. Okay. Anyways, let's go back here. So we added a few classes here. A few functions here. So we imported throttle classes, and we also, which you notice is a function, and we also added user rate throttle and a non-rate throttle, which you can notice these are classes. So simply to rate limit our hello world endpoints, you can just add the throttle classes here and also pass in as a list the user rate throttle and a non-rate throttle that we imported there, right? And this is saying that it will use both the user rate throttle and the non-rate throttle. Essentially how it's specified here, it will take priority to the user rate throttle, but if it does not apply, then it will try to do the non-rate throttle. So this kind of logical flow is saying they will first check if they're a registered user. If they're logged in, then it will apply this throttle. If they're not authenticated, it will apply this throttle as a backup. Okay. And while we're here, actually, we can also add to our view set. Let's see how we can add throttling here. So you can actually just add in that same throttle keyword, and in a similar way here, we can just pass in the list, which, like I said, it has the same logical flow of first using the user rate throttle. And we can also notice here that with the view set, you're just passing it as sort of a variable within a class. And when in the function-based view, we are using a sort of throttle classes decorator that is supplied in the REST framework.decorators. Okay, so now that we have that, let's just quickly try it out again. So let's go back to PowerShell and see if we can notice any difference here from the first time. Remember, we sent like about 10 requests, or we sent quite a few, and it actually fulfilled them and let us do those requests. But let's see what happens if we send to hello. Okay, so it says hello world. That was once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Oh, whoops. Okay, so I think I might have forgotten something. Alrighty, sorry guys. So I did a bit of a cut there. I realized I forgot one thing while I was trying the curl request again, trying to send a request. I realized the rate limiting was still not working. I realized on the function-based view, I forgot to do one import. So we have to add the @API view decorator and pass in git. I forgot that in order to use the Django Rest Framework throttle classes, we have to, of course, register it with Django Rest Framework by using that decorator. Now we have still this one as well, added the throttle classes. So we can just go ahead and try it again here. So remember the first time it let us, send as many requests as we wanted. Now, if we were to send a request, we can first try the hello. You can see here, let's send, I think that was 5 requests. And then you can see now on the 6th request, since we set the anonymous limit to 6, I don't know how well you can see this, but it says, it didn't let us do the request at time. It says the request was throttled. Expect available in 57 seconds, and you can send it again, and it would tell you, it'll give you an update of like what time it might be available to send another request. And we can see here, if you check on console as well, you can see instead of returning a 200, it actually returned a 429, which is the HTTP status code for too many requests. And if we just wait a few more seconds here, we can try to send a request to the other endpoint, which is the time endpoints. Let's see how close we are. Okay, we just have 10 more seconds. So we can just wait here, a few more seconds. I'll just clear the console. And it should be good right about now. Cool. So we could probably send 5 more requests. And on the 6th one, we can see again that it gives us that same request was throttled. Expect to be available in another minute. Cool. It looks like everything is working as expected. It is blocking the request if the user sends too many. Obviously, we just used a low amount here. You'd obviously want to do it a little bit higher in your actual application. But this is just for demonstration purposes. Now, I will show one last thing before I end this video. We can see here, like, so we use the function-based views and the view sets, but they're passing in a similar way. And you can see we're both using this user rate throttle and the non-rate throttle. Now, these are just out of the box classes that you can use for your application. And for most situations, this will work fine. But there might be a case where you want to create your own implementations if you have any complicated patterns or more sophisticated rate limiting. And you could very easily do that. Let me actually open this class here, open the implementation. This simple class, that's all that's actually being used for this user rate throttle. You could actually almost create a copy of this class. You just need to override the simple rate throttle class and just add in the get cache key. And you can notice the scope as well. That's going to correspond to what we put in the settings here. That's going to correspond to this key. So then you could create a separate one that would match up with this. And you can see when it's saying for users, this is where that's getting it from. Users, it's because this one condition that's checking if the user is authenticated, and we're going to use that and use that to keep track of users instead of the IP address, which would be used for the non-rate throttle. So you can easily create your own customization for, for example, if you want to have a specific throttle for specific groups in Django. So you want maybe admin users to have a different throttle than regular non-admin authenticated users. You could certainly do that. And if we actually go one step up as well, is this simple rate throttle class, we can see that this implements the, overrides the base throttle class. And here, there's actually a lot more functions. What you can actually do with this, if you're really a little bit more advanced, but if you want, you can actually create your own implementation or your own implementation of the base throttle class, and you can go through all this code and you can actually implement your own rate limiting algorithm if you do not like the one out of the box, or it's not properly sufficient for what you're doing. But that's about it. So this is a very sort of simple introductory tutorial, but I just wanted to go through some of the basics of, getting your existing Django application, maybe have a few endpoints and adding rate limiting to them for a more protected and secure application. Okay, so that will be all for this video, and I really appreciate you watching, and goodbye.